Well, here we go, up to number 3 on my fantasy playlist. Murray had one night in Bangkok. Fantasy playlist, April 28, 1985. Boy, I tell you what, I remember when night tracks on WTBS, they ran between, I forgot the exact time, between 11 till about 5 in the morning. There were many nights after watching night tracks during the weekend. This was Friday and Saturday nights. I'd lay in the bed trying to go to sleep or read, and I'm thinking, man, this has been a great night. Watch some great new videos on night tracks. It was 30 years ago. And they premiered the video one night in Bangkok. I remember the night. Back in January, February 1985. It blew me away. I fell in love with this record. Boy, it took a long time for it, though, to get to the top 10. One Night in Bangkok by Murray Head. Murray Head, a lot of people think that this record by Murray Head was a one-hit wonder. A lot of people have forgotten that Murray Head had a hit back in the spring of 1971. Remember it vividly. Jesus Christ Superstar. And One Night in Bangkok is from a musical that premiered in London's West End called Chess. Premiered in London in 1984. Basically, ostensibly, on the surface, it's about a chess game between a Soviet and an American chess player taking place in Bangkok. A metaphor, or so it seemed, about the Cold War that was on between the U.S. and Russia. And this was 5 years before the fall of the Berlin Wall, 1985. But beneath the surface, ooh, see that steam coming off. It's more like some sort of erotic cabaret. The double entendres the double entendres, they compare or they reference the chess game with the nightlife in Bangkok. And they have a robust, did I pronounce that word right? Robust, and for some reason I can't pronounce that word correctly right now. Well, let me rephrase it. Bangkok has a healthy nightlife, to say the least. There's a line in that song. Let me find that song. It was absolutely brilliant. And that's what gave it away to me, that this song might have a more of a sensual level to it. I would invite you, but the queens we use would not excite you. Now, how sophisticated and sensual is that at the same time? I forgot how high that song went. I believe it went to number 5 on Billboard's Hot 100. Spring of 1985. Finally, One Night in Bangkok by Murray Head. I want to mention one other thing about Murray Head on a personal note. Here's the thing. Back in early 1976, I'd listen to WTBC, local radio station, top 40 station, WTBC. Although at the time, they went from top 40 in the daytime to playing album cuts at night. Strictly album cuts at night between 12 to 5 in the morning. One of the songs they played, early 1976, Say It Ain't So, Joe. One of the most melancholy records I've ever heard. Sadness on the AM bandwidth. Weeping across the AM bandwidth. Didn't know who did it. Had no idea who did that record. Always wondered who did it. Well, guess what? 39 years later, I found out. No, I take that back. 37 years later, I found out who did it, finally. Murray Head. He did the song Saying Ain't So. And on researching Murray Head, he teamed up with a guy named, his name was, it was an old schoolmate of his, Paul Samwell Smith. Paul Samwell Smith produced hit records by Cat Stevens. He teamed up, Murray Head did, with Paul Samwell Smith, and they came out with the album Saying Ain't So, which became a cult album in France. Came off the Island record label. I just didn't know. Murray had CNA Sojo. My goodness. One Night in Bangkok, though, his second hit record. His last hit record at number 3 on my fantasy playlist, April 28, 1985.